morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Virtual Talk number 20, Road to Extensive Reading Around the World. Ladies and gentlemen, this event is jointly hosted by the English Education Department, Universitas Muria Kudus, and the English Language Education Program of Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana in cooperation with IERA, Indonesia Extensive Reading Association, ERF, Extensive Reading Foundation, and RELO, Regional English Language Office. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in this lovely occasion, we are going to talk about a topic of building children's good reading habits. And I would like to invite you all to address our special guest speakers. The first is Ibu Dr. Itje Chodidjah, Master of Art. Good morning, Ibu Itje.
Good morning, Pak Agung.
Yeah. And then the second speaker is Bapak Sasmoyo Hermawan S.Pd. Good morning, Pak Sasmoyo. Okay, and the moderator of this talk will be Ibu Eka Wahyuningsih M.Pd. Good morning, Ibu Eka.
Morning, Pak.
And let's also address Dr. Bradley Horn, Director of RELO, Regional English Language Office, U.S. Embassy, Jakarta. Good morning, Dr. Bradley.
Good morning, Pak Agung.
And Ibu Fenty Lydia Siregar, PhD, the Chair of IERA, Indonesia Extensive Reading Association. Good morning, Ibu Fenty.
Good morning, Pak.
And also the Dean of Teacher Training and Education Faculty of Universitas Muria Kudus, Bapak Sucipto M.Pd. Cons. Good morning, Bapak Sucipto. And then let's address the Dean of Language of Art Faculty, the Dean of Language and Art Faculty of Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana, Ibu Susana Maria M. Hum. Good morning, Ibu Susana. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here is the rundown of our program today. The first program is opening speech from the chair of IERA, and the second program is opening speech from the director of RELO, and the third will be the main program of Virtual Talk number 20, and the fourth will be announcement, and last program will be closing and photo session. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin our program by listening to the opening speech from the chair of IERA, Ibu Fenty Lydia Siregar, PhD. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Pak. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of IERA, I would like to thank you for participating in this webinar. Today, the topic of our webinar, I think, is something that everyone would like to know, especially about building good habits. And we are happy that today we can collaborate with Universitas Muria Kudus, Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana, and we also got we also got support from RELO, US Embassy Indonesia, and ERF. So I hope that we can learn more from the speakers today about how to build children's good reading habit. Someone said that good reading habit can lead to individual growth and the overall development of our society. So hopefully we all can contribute to the individual growth and the overall development of our society after we learn a lot of things from our speakers today. So good morning, everyone. Please enjoy the webinar.
Thank you very much, Ibu Fenty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we proceed to the second opening speech that will be delivered by Dr. Bradley Horn. He is the Acting Cultural Affairs Officer and the Director of Regional English Language Office, U.S. Embassy Jakarta. To Dr. Bradley Horn, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Pak Agung. It is a pleasure to be here with everyone this morning, and I would like to echo Ibu Fenty's words in welcoming everyone who's joining us today from across the country, and probably also we might have a few outside of Indonesia, so welcome to our international participants as well. It is a pleasure to greet you on behalf of the U.S. Embassy, the Regional English Language Office, and to once again thank our partners at IERA and ERF for doing this critical series of webinars promoting extensive reading. It has been a huge success. I can't believe we're at number 20 already. So cheers to IERA and ERF for this outstanding partnership on a critical area for all of us as educators. I would also like to thank UMK and UKSW for hosting this episode, this number 20 of the webinar series. It has been our university partners that have helped, even though it's virtual, even though we're still required to do everything without physically going to visit you at your universities. This has been a sort of roadshow because we have moved the hosting university from location to location and from island to island, because it's important to stress that as literacy educators, it sometimes feels like a very local, very localized effort in your own classroom, but it is truly a nationwide, and I would even argue a global campaign to ensure that children and adolescents and even adults develop their reading skills across the lifetime. I'm especially excited about today's topic because it touches on a critical period in the acquisition of literacy skills. We know that we have to get kids started early, and we have to inculcate a love of reading early for them to become lifelong readers, for them to have success as lifelong readers. So I'm very excited to hear what Ibu Itje and Pak Sasmoyo have to share with us today. Some thoughts, some ideas on how we can promote those good habits of readers. But if you'll allow me just a moment, one of the things that I think hopefully they will address, and hopefully all of you and all of us will continue together to consider, is how reading is changing how it's changed in my lifetimes, how it is continuing to evolve. When I was doing my own doctoral studies, and doing seminars on reading research, both for first language and second language acquisition of reading skills, I remember one of the areas of research that had the most influence on my own thinking was on research on what we call print-rich environments. And that was basically saying that households, homes, where children were surrounded by books and saw adults modeling literary practice, the practice of reading, those households, regardless of their socioeconomic status, that access to print-rich media, print-rich text, access to books, magazines, newspapers, was the leading predictor of future verbal fluency, verbal accuracy, things like range of vocabulary knowledge in first language as well as second language. So that's why I chose today to make sure I was sitting in front of a bookcase, because this is the sort of thing that we mean when we talk about print-rich environments for children. I probably should have been in front of our kids' bookcase, but there are a few too many toys still on the bookcase, so I thought it would be better to be in front of my wife and my reading for pleasure bookcase. But the idea you get is that when kids are surrounded by reading materials and when they see adults reading, they become better readers. They pick up that practice because it's being modeled for them. Now, we know that this is a luxury in many, many households. We know that books are relatively expensive in many countries. And today, books are far less common, just as a matter of technological development. And so this is a real challenge that we face in many parts of the world in talking about building print-rich environments or building environments where children see adults modeling literary practice, reading practice, because many households do not have shelves of books in them. And instead, nowadays, most of us are getting our text on these things. Oh, I probably should have cleaned my screen. I could see my fingerprints. But that's evidence that most of us are reading on screens nowadays. There's an American professor, Naomi Barron. She's actually an professor emerita, which means she's retired, but she was at American University throughout her career. And in 2015, she wrote a book called Words on Screen, The Fate of Reading in a Digital World. And again, this year, she's publishing a new text called How We Read Now, Strategic Choices for Print, Screen, and Audio. So reading practice is actually shifting because of our devices. We're shifting to digital text. We're switching a lot to audio books and listening to books. And we're not reading as much necessarily with a physical book in the hand. And that's having an impact on how our children, today's children, develop their reading practices, how we as adults are modeling and how they are now consuming text. If you're old school like me, you still need one of these things in your hand to really feel like you're reading. And when I'm reading on this thing, it's a far inferior mode for me. But that's not necessarily true for young readers anymore, because they really have grown up as digital natives. So it's a fascinating process to observe. And the other thing is, it's a lot easier to carry around 100 books on this thing than it is to carry around 100 books in your backpack. So there are advantages, of course. So we can't, as literacy educators, especially literacy educators who have been at this for a couple of decades, we can't solely insist that children have only physical texts, because that's what we love. But we also have to kind of learn to embrace the technology. But we also need to learn how reading differs between print and screen and audio. And we need to think a little bit about how we promote effective reading practices, effective reading skills in the different modes. So it's a fascinating time to be a literacy educator. And I am, again, grateful to IERA, to UMK, to UKSW for hosting this very important webinar on this topic today. I think I've probably taken too much of my allotted time, so I'll turn the floor back over to the moderator. But I'm very excited, very grateful, and I look forward to hearing what Ibu Itje and Pak Sasmoyo have to share with us today. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much for the fruitful and inspiring speech, Dr. Bradley. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to our main agenda. It's virtual talk number 20 with the topic Building Students' Good Reading Habits. And this talk will be handled by the moderator, Ibu Eka Wahyuningsih, M.Pd. To Ibu Eka Wahyuningsih, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Agung. And now, Bapak Ibu, the first presenter is going to be Ibu Itje Chodidjah. But before listening to her presentation, let me read her curriculum vitae. So Ibu Itje Chodidjah is she got her S1 degree from Faculty of Letters, Institute of Teacher Training and Education, Malang, and she got her MA from the University of Warwick, England, Masters and in English Language Education, and her PhD was obtained from UPI Bandung, Indonesia, with a research focusing on teacher training process. And then Ibu Itje also attended various trainings on managing education as well as leadership in education, both in Indonesia and in other countries. And Bapak Ibu Itje is currently an independent educator, and her activities include providing trainings for teachers and school principals as well as teacher trainers. With more than 39 years of experience in education and teaching, Ibu Itje has developed various types of training in the development of teaching materials, enhancing teachers' competence, and in developing curriculum, especially in English, and also in improving the quality of school principals and supervisors. And now, Ibu Itje is going to present her presentation entitled Reading Habits, Management, and Literacy. Ibu Itje, time is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about literacy, because I think for the last 10 years, I've been focusing on literacy very much. It was started when I saw the result of Indonesia in PISA level for reading literacy, and I'm so grateful that now there are many communities set up for development of literacy, including IERA. And good morning, Dr. Bradley. It's been a long time not see, and hope to see you soon. Literacy is just as important as the air for life. Because literacy determines a lot of decision that we make for our life. And therefore, when I was invited for this talk, I was so excited. And Ibu Eka, I think I will correct a little bit. It's not reading and management, but engagement. So I will share my PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. Okay. When I was contacted to talk about reading habits, then of course I directly link to development of literacy, and therefore I decide to have this title: Reading Habits, Engagement, and Literacy. Ibu Eka, how many minutes I have for talking?
40 minutes, ma'am.
40 minutes. But during this presentation, I will have a question for participants to answer. Yeah.
No, ma'am. The question
Okay.
and the Q&A session is going to be at the end of the
I'm
presentation.
sorry. No, ma'am. What I mean, I will interact with with audience through questions which they have to answer on a chat box. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The main objective of this talk is just to focus on how we adults can support children's reading habit that lead into the development of the reading literacy. I think I want to share a little bit about why the Ujian Nasional was stopped last year. Thanks to it's not good to thanks to the pandemic, but I think thanks to the pandemic that gave more chance for the government to decide that ujian nasional to stop. Why it matters? What is the relationship between the ujian nasional and literacy? Ujian nasional has taken lots of energy of teachers and schools to focus on, so that the schools and teachers and headmasters and all the apparatus, use their energy only to get high score of ujian nasional. So all the lessons, all the school, all the education process has been driven to that. And schools forget that there is more important aspect of education, that is to develop the students' literacy, give opportunity for the students to have dialogue about what they read, dialogue about what they experience, which of course takes a bit of time and needs a special, or not special, need the teacher skills to be the moderator, to be the bridge between text and children. And with ujian nasional, teachers always say that we have no time. We had no time. And now the focus of assessment nationally will be on assessment nasional, which one of it is AKM, assessment competency minimal, where the assessment is going to focus on reading literacy and numeracy literacy. So later on, maybe if you ask question about that, then probably I can discuss about it a little bit. Why then the direction is to assess reading literacy through all subjects. Yeah. So that's why today I'm going to focus on reading habit that lead to the development of reading literacy. Now I'm going to start asking participants question. Please share your reading experience when you were children, including how your primary school teacher and your parents supported you. Please write on the chat box. Please write on the chat box. I will copy this and put it on the chat. Okay, please look at the chat. I put the question there, and please share your experience. Please share your experience. There is one answer. My parents subscribed Bobo magazine for me. Go on. How? Yes. What is ACT? Album cerita ternama. Okay. My father subscribed. I didn't hand it anything at all, except school textbook. Okay, go on. So it's varied. And parents give me book for birthday present and borrowing books from my friends. My parents often bought some child's magazine. My mom always read me a story, and we usually listen, borrowed books from library. And I want to find a school experience. What about teachers? How teachers support you? Okay. Let me ask to Ibu Apriliana. When I was a kid, Ibu Apriliana, can you tell a bit of story? Ibu Apriliana? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Yes?
When I was little, my parents bought me some comics, especially Naruto, because I like watching Naruto on the television. So my parents bought me that Naruto comics.
Okay. And do you talk about it with your parents?
Wait,
Do you talk about it with your parents?
yes.
Okay. And I saw Ibu Dian Safitri say that my parents didn't provide any books. But how then you happen to like reading? Where is Ibu Dian?
Hi, Wita.
Oh, hi.
Now I am under microscope. Thank you. Yes, it was self-awareness actually, because I knew books and education would save me. So I pushed myself to read. And now also being a model for the kids at home. So they also, yes.
And who started your awareness?
Actually, friends who had libraries at home, for example, and their parents bought books for them, and they had this, a little corner at home.
Yes.
And it was like a dream to have that kind of corner. So, yes, encouragement from people who read.
Yes.
Yes.
So you are surrounded by friends who reads a lot, and then you are inspired.
Yes.
You are inspired.
Yes.
Okay. So we all have experience, and this is the nature of children. They learn from their environment. If not parents, friends. And then I saw Ibu Rusiana also. My parents didn't have enough money to buy books. So how did you start your reading habit? Ibu Rus.
So yeah,
Yes.
I went to school library. I liked reading, but for that no teacher accompanied me, but at least they encouraged me and also my friends to go to the library. So I did a lot, and I even still remember my first book in Bahasa Indonesia. The title is Sak Putus di Rundu Malang, Ibu.
Oh, okay. Right. So there are various answers here in the chat a chat box. So many similar kind of answer. Some people are supported by the teachers. Some people are supported by their parents, and etc. But at least there is always something to start us to like reading. I remember myself when I was in primary school. I have so many brothers and sisters, and I am the first child. And of course, my parents didn't really have time to lead us how to read. However, my father, he was a car driver. And every single afternoon when he arrived home, first of all, what he did was pick up a book, and I still remember the features of that book. And then he kept telling us what the book is about, and it's all about Indonesia. And there are lots of stories from different regions of Indonesia. And he was a driver. So I pray for him. And that formed the habit of reading of those children. we are 8 at home. So it really depends on how the reading was started by our surrounding, especially parents and teachers. So now I'm going to continue my presentation. So there are lots of ways that children start liking to read. So reading literacy. So if we read, then it will lead into reading literacy. Reading literacy, according to PISA, is the ability to understand, use, and reflect on written text in order to achieve one's goal, to develop one's knowledge and potential, and to participate effectively in a society. So you see, at the end, why I return to PISA, because at the moment, we in Indonesia use it as the benchmark on how we can help the school to develop literacy. So when we develop our reading habits since we were kids, we get used to understand information, and at some points we use those information. When we were kids, we use information to solve the problem with our friends, with parents, with things around us. And little by little, we develop our ability to reflect because of the experience from reading of different resources. Yeah. And when this habit is formed, we cannot take it out from our brain. It develops unconsciously. Yeah. So how do these children develop their habits? Where to start? Let's start by understanding how basically children form their habits. I talked about it a little while ago. Habit formation means unconscious mental process. Why this habit should start early? Because at the moment of age 0 to 7, children search for things for them. So whatever around them is a lesson to learn. Whatever, whether it's good or bad, whatever around the kids, different kind of resources, people, things, books, etc., unconsciously processed in the brain and revealed as behavioral tendencies and disposition as the child engage with events and challenges of everyday life. So children surrounded by books, they will love books. Children surrounded by food, they will love food. And this formation is unconscious, and then it's suddenly formed. And that's why there are parents or teachers say, aduh, when he was in primary school, he was a good kid. But now, he turns into different kind of kid, which means tends to be too active or kind of lazy, etc. And because we sometimes do not realize that during that prime time in the primary school, especially between 0 to 7 years old, children not just learn things and just go, and it forms, it becomes part of their life. Then habits of mind may be cultivated. And Ki Hajar Dewantoro is very right here. Ki Hajar Dewantoro is a prominent educator nationally, and he said that mendidik itu seperti mengolah tanaman. So here, habits of mind may be cultivated in children, and they show how children can be taught at home and at school how to habituate effective problem strategies and techniques into their mental repertoire, so that they develop the propensity for skillful problem solving in a variety of life settings. And this can be developed through reading. This can be developed through reading. And of course, engagement, dialogue. Yeah? So now it's another question. Let's relax a little bit. What do you do to enjoy reading? Share. What do you do to enjoy reading? I want to see your answer. Read what I like. Choose the genre I like. Yes, go on. Find good spot. Liking the book first. Read before bed. Prepare my room in a good condition. Okay. Read while listening to music. Okay. Read something I'm curious about. Something that I choose. Yes. Which comes first? The book or the environment? Which comes first? The book or the environment, Ibu Umi? The book, yes. Read. Yes, most of you say it's the book. And which book? And of course, the book that you are curious to find information from, book that you like, book that you are interested in, or book that is, according to you, it's a good book. Yeah? So, let me continue. So, I think you all agree that first of all is the book that we choose. There is something that makes us connect to the book. Connect to the book. It's connected because it talks about memory of somebody that we want to know about. It talks about food that we like. It talks about places that we want to visit, or talks about places that we have memory about, etc. So again, the important thing is the book. Okay. Okay. So now let's go on. How do we habituate children to read? First of all, provide access to books, written text, reading materials. Dr. Bradley talked about how different the way Dr. Bradley or some of you did reading in the past, and how children read now. Provide access to books or written text, reading materials that will attract the children's interest. We need to provide them with various kind of texts. I think now there are many places, there are many story communities, telling story communities, and moving library, school library, where children may have access, and we need to provide them. If at home, provide as many books as possible, as we can afford, to give the sense of interaction between the kids and the written text. And don't forget, the choice of book is very important. Then model it. How we can habituate it? Model it. Model it by we as teachers, as parents, read. So we read. And if the activity at home, one of the activities at home is reading, provide times reading at a certain time or random time, as long as there is a time where children look at adults around them doing the reading. And this is natural for children to imitate what adults around them do. If the adults around them read, then they will ask, where is my book? We often find young child taking one of the parents' book and then pretending that he or she read the book and blah, 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 blah. It's because books are around. And in a classroom setting, I think it's time for us to have a reading corner in every single classroom. Reading corner. We call it corner. It's a small space where books are there. Probably the teacher bring their own books at the beginning. Then maybe school can provide it. Maybe there are 10 or 20 books in each corner of the class to form their habit. So they see people, teachers doing it, they see parents doing it, and the access is there, then they will think of doing it. And number 3, it's not just reading it. Show that you are interested in what you read. When reading it seriously, naturally, and children can feel it, whether you read naturally or you pretend to read, or children can understand that naturally. So show that you are interested in what you read, and then continue with talk about what you read and why you read it. Look, I think I learn a lot from our own experience as parents, and we talk about books that we read, even though in children language, we read books. Look, why we read this book? This is because this book is about blah, 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 blah. It's very simple explanation. But we talk about it so that the children form their mind that, oh, okay, if I want to find information, I can read books. And I still remember more than 30 years ago when our children have something, have difficulties in doing their homework or things, before we help them, we ask them to consult the encyclopedia, simple encyclopedia. So check there. And then we taught them how to find information in the encyclopedia. This is very strong to form the habit, because it's the habit of mind. And until now, it's just developed naturally. And it helps her a lot in finishing lots of problems at work. So again, talking about what we read is very important. It's not the content. It's for the purpose of forming habit, so that they are going to be interested in what they read later on. So I quote from Catherine Peterson, who is a children novel writer in the past. And she said, it's not enough to simply teach children to read. we have to give them something worth reading. So again, it's the choice of book, yes? Something that will stretch their imagination, something that will help make sense of their own life and encourage them to reach out toward people whose lives are quite different from their own. That's why literacy will develop democracy behavior. It's developed from literacy because we read different kind of things. So I would say here, I conclude three things very important: choice of books, engagement to help them make sense of their own lives, and development of their literacy to understand life better. Yeah. Now, this one is still related to favorite books. Everyone is a reader, actually. Some just haven't found their favorite yet. So, as adults, we need to provide books in order that children around us, whether our students or our own children, will develop their habits because they're interested in the books that we provide. So then a choice of books or texts to be read to children and to read by children is the key to the children motivation. It determines whether they will interact with the text or not. Here I don't limit text with books. Yeah, of course, this is in digital era. It's also digital text. Now, the right choice of books or texts will lead to boost children motivation to enjoy reading, motivate children to connect. So here I discuss a lot for this second point. I discuss a lot with my daughter how she developed this connection, how books connect her to the surroundings and lives. Yes, so reading the right choice of books will motivate children to connect because they are interested in what they read. Then it's a lot easier to make sense. Yeah, what they read and life. And number three, to motivate children to develop their own value because books carry value. Of course, it's written to imply value for children to pick up. And if they're reading the right book, then they will develop their own value. They never feel that they learn, and we never feel that we learn from many books to develop our values, our life values, living values, and positive behavior. Yeah. Now, engagement. Why to engage? Engagement is the key success to children literacy. If a choice of book, the key success for the motivation to read, engagement is the key success to children reading literacy. Engagement helps children make sense of their own lives. Yeah? And how can we do this engagement? At the beginning, I said, talk about it. Talk about it. So here, I found 5 key aspects in order to develop engagement. First of all, showing interest and motivation. Whether we read our own book or whether we read for the children, we have to show our interest. Read and talk with energy. Read and talk with enthusiasm. so that children know that, oh, okay, look at my teacher, look at my mom. She loves what she reads. So engagement, first of all, showed by our non-verbal language, because often non-verbal language talk more than our verbal language. When we show the interest through our body language, naturally, our gesture, then the children will notice that we love reading, and that will develop their mind, yes? And number two, how many more minutes, Ibu Eka?
4 minutes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. And the second, resource management. What I mean by resource management is, if we want to develop engagement, we need to manage our resources. What books do we have? What texts do we have? Which text we will, which story, which book that we are going to talk about. I think this is very important for us as adults to manage the resources, the book. How many do we have, and which one is suitable for this age? Which one is not suitable, and which should come first? What will I focus on? Am I going to focus on, fairness? Oh, I think this story, the students will be interested in, and it will talk about fairness. So, in order that we can engage fully with the text and with the children. So before reading, before telling the story, focus on what we are going to have conversation with the kids. Are we going to talk about this part or that part? This is important to plan in order that we can reach our target. Yeah, this engagement and engagement will help the student to think through the story and connect to their own lives. Yeah, and then behavioral management. We need to think of how we manage our own behavior and the kids' behavior when they read, when they listen, and if it is reading in a higher level, in a higher primary level, then we can provide we can provide time for the students to work with their friends, and we help them manage their behavior when they read with their friends. And we talk about it. We talk about what do we expect with the kids to behave when they read the book. Yes. So behavioral management is important. Is key aspect to the engagement. For example, when we ask our children or our students to read, then we also behave right by reading together with them and not doing other things. Yeah, and especially at home, I witness many parents ask the children to read, and then their parents carry their mobile phone and do other things and do not connect with the children.
So sorry, ma'am, the time is up.
Can I have 2 minutes, Boo?
Yes.
And then managing our language to scaffold. This is very important. We need to scaffold to help them engage with the text, interact with the text, build questions that lead into their own reading, not questions about the reading, Of course, questions that help them to understand the whole concept in what they read. And of course, time management. We have to make sure that while we engage with the students, there is no interruption. And therefore, we need to manage the time. I remember we set our time, and weekend is always 2 hours for reading and talking, etc. This is very important, whether it's school or at home. Now, why reading literacy? To be more successful in life. Now has been there are lots of quotation, and it's not only in schools but also in business that literacy has become the focus of the success in industry, in politics, etc. So I will show some quotation that now why reading literacy is important. No matter what profession we hold, then it's because we face lots of complex problems. Then reading literacy is very important for the expansion of human capacity and productivity. And why reading is essential for one's life? The ability to locate, access, understand, and reflect on all kinds of information is essential in order that we can participate fully in the society. And this will be formed from the habits of reading that we built since young age. And again, I look at the PISA framework for assessing reading literacy of students towards end of compulsory education. Therefore, must focus on reading literacy skills that include finding, selecting, interpreting, integrating, and evaluating information. And then we need to train our students to manage all this information and reflect, and then they can produce their own text. So let me finish with these quotes. I do believe something very magical can happen when you read good book. Let's continue reading for life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Itje, for your presentation. And something that I can get from your presentation or from Ibu Itje's presentation is that as teachers or as parents, we have to give our children, our students model, and we should show them that we are also keen on reading so that they are going to do exactly the same as what we do. Now, Bapak Ibu, we come to the second presenter, that is Bapak Sasmoyo. I think he has been here, and before listening to his presentation, let me read his CV. So Pak Sasmoyo told me that his competencies are teaching and teacher training, English education, disaster risk reduction training, education in emergency, and also community development. And Pak Sas was graduated from Sanata Dharma University, and he has got so many very long CVs, so that I'm going to read only some of them. July 21st up to August 1st, 2008, Pak Sas became the member of community-based disaster risk reduction. And again, in February 2008, he completed an online course on integrating internet into classroom from Portland, Oregon. And in November 2007, he completed a 9-day training on education in emergencies conducted in Bogor, West Java. In November up to November 2005 to January 2006, He completed an online course on teaching business English in South Carolina University, South Carolina, USA. And now, January 2018 up to now, Pak Sas is a teacher and school training specialist for primary school Pintar project. And Pak Sas is going to present something on on building reading interest before and during pandemic, the story from the frontier. Pak Sas, time is yours for about 40 minutes. Pak Sas? Pak Sas, are you there? Pak Sas, can you listen to me? Yeah, Bapak Ibu, Pak Sas just now early in the morning, this morning, he told me that it was raining heavily at that time. So perhaps it is, he had, what is that, a bad connection. Pak Sas, are you there? I cannot listen to your voice, Pak. Not a good connection, I think.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, I can listen to you.
Can you?
Yes, up and down.
Hello?
Up and down, Pak. Up and down. Just try, Pak. Yes, just try to have the presentation. Yeah, I can hear you saying hello. Yes, not clear. Yes, I can hear you saying hello. Just try, Pak. Pak Sas? Are you there? Let me. Pak Sas, are you there? Or perhaps it is better for you to turn off your video, Pak, so that you can get a better signal. Turn off your video, Pak. Okay. Can you please try to say something? Host or co-host, can you please help me to make everything okay for Pak Sas? Or perhaps while waiting for Pak Sas, I think it is better for us to have any Q&A session first with Ibu Itje. Ibu Itje, are you still there?
Ibu, of course.
Yes,
I
thank
turned
you.
off my video on only to stabilize the internet connection.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for being there for me, ma'am. Okay,
Oh,
ma'am,
yes.
from your presentation, you told us that the most important thing is that we have to provide students or we have to provide our children books so that they are keen on reading. They try to to motivate the students or to motivate our children to start reading. But then
Yes.
the question the question that is often asked by the audience is that, ma'am, English
Yes.
books are expensive. So where can I find the books? Where can we find the books to provide for the students?
I think at the early stage of reading, it's better for us to use our native language, not directly to English, because to form habits, they have to be familiar with the language. If they're not familiar with the language, they're going to be struggling a lot to understand what they read. And therefore, I would suggest that if to develop their reading habits, we start with local language. And if you ask about access to English stories, English books, I think now we can. Well, of course, to buy books is very expensive, but there are many free resources in the internet that teachers and parents can use. So again, it's about how the adults manage the resources, how they find time to search for texts or for books or for stories online or offline, because now I think stories online are much cheaper than to buy books, and they can collect it in their tablets or their mobile phone to use. So again, adults should be able to manage those resources.
Yeah, so first of all, to make them interested in reading books, we have to provide them books written in their own language. Is that correct?
Yes, to make it easier so then they don't have challenge in understanding.
Okay,
I think
thank
Pak
you.
Sasmoyo is there.
Yes, Pak Sas, are you there? Pak Sas? Pak Sas, are you there? On, off? Pak Sas, can you listen to my voice?
Hello, you hear voice?
Yes. Pak?
Hello.
Yes, I can listen to your voice, Pak. Loud and clear.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry for the technical problems. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes. Yes, I can, Pak.
Hello.
Yes, I can listen to your voice, Pak.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much. So, good morning, everybody. Zoom. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Bu Itje. It's been a while.
Yes.
I'm sorry for the interruption due to the bad weather here. I enjoyed its presentation, and somehow we have the same PowerPoint template. So I hope that your explanation will also connect to my presentation too. So yes, allow me to share my PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it, Bu Eka?
Yes, Pak. Developing reading interest
Hello?
before. Yes,
Okay.
I can see it.
Thank you very much. Okay, everybody. This could be the practical side of what we explained just now. I gave the title. This is more like sharing experience or sharing stories from my work areas, especially on developing reading interest before and during pandemic. I hope it is the topic is up to date. First of all, where have I been the last 8 to 9 years? Yeah, I started moving to Western Indonesia in 2012 after being in the eastern part for 5 to 6 years, and my work areas comprises of these, mostly in Sumatra Island, particularly, especially in Riau Province. Which part of Riau Province? Here are my working areas. Yeah, we start from Kampar District, mostly in Kampar District, especially in Kampar Kiri. There is about 2 to 3 hours drive from Pekanbaru. Yeah, mostly with schools in villages, and then Kuantan Singingi. If we go straight from Kampar Kiri, we will come to Kuantan Singingi Regency. It's about 5 hours drive from Pekanbaru. In Kepulauan Meranti, especially in Padang Island. I don't know why it is written as Padang Island. It is actually Padang Island. This is close to Malacca Strait. Yeah, so Padang Island actually. And then in Siak District, especially in Sungai Apit here, a little bit off from the Siak Regency. It's about 2 to 3 hours drive. And then in cities like Dumai, you see, this is the industrial city of Dumai, where most of our oil is processed. And then Bengkalis, especially in Pulau Bengkalis here, there are 2 sub-districts in Pulau Bengkalis, Bantan and Bengkalis. And in Pelalawan, where the biggest pulp and paper factory in Asia lies. It's about 2 to 3 hours drive from Pekanbaru. And then Indragiri Hulu. This is from Pekanbaru. You can travel there by 5 to 6 hours drive. I work mostly with primary schools, especially with teachers and children, particularly in developing their literacy skills. And what I do, sorry. Okay, so how is students reading in the areas of work, in those areas that I just told you? Well, it is very different. It varies if we compare from rural setting and urban setting. I hope the following photos represent the condition. In regarding access to books in rural areas, it is quite hard to find. Yeah, the photos on the left, it is taken in Indragiri Hulu. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to find good books there, or let books alone. So when they can find books, they can, they directly jump to it and then read everything in one day, and that's it. The next books, they will have to wait, I don't know how many years probably. On the right, this is in Pekanbaru, where mobile library from the government usually operate. So it is easier to access books. Yeah, and then the next, regarding literacy skills, the picture on the left is taken in Padang Island, where most students are struggling with alphabets and simple words, while the picture on the right is taken in Dumai, if I'm not mistaken, where they are mostly fluent readers. And then, so what did I do to cope with, variety of access and literacy skills? Just like what Bu Itje said, or stated now, that engagement is very important. So I try to develop some strategies. First of all, provide access to books, from people who donate books, or from companies, foundations who have access to books, and then we send proposals and we help them send the books to the children who need that, especially to schools. And then the second one, however, books, or good books, were not enough. So I try to develop or integrate fun and engaging activities incorporating reading in the form of arts and crafts and games, actually. So here are five of them. Yeah, this is very practical: question cube or question wheel, and then alphabet step, and then making diorama, poster drawing, and book review. Let's see that from the question wheel or cube of questions. This is what I do. This is what we do. We develop. This is from cardboard cutout. We make it circle and then write the question word there. After reading books, they can play with that. Asking questions regarding the books, related to the books. Yeah. And then the second one, it has the same principles. It is question cube with question word written on it, and then they use that as a tool for discussion after reading the books that they chose. And then the second one is alphabet step. This is for those who have very limited literacy skills. They are still recognizing simple words or even alphabet. So the teacher will show books and then ask simple words, or read the title of the books, and then the children or the students will step on the words or the alphabet related to the word read by the teacher. And then this is creating diorama for a little bit advanced readers, those who understand, who read fluently, but most children, they do not like to write. So we provide this activities related to crafts. They create diorama based on the books that they have read, and then at the end they present it to the whole class. So eventually, actually, they have a book talk actually at the end. This is from the one on the left is a diorama related to stories about Independence Day celebration, and then the photos on the right. This is actually the story of Malin Kundang, where the ship looks like being engulfed by waves that of the storm. And then for a little bit more advanced readers, we also provide this activity.
Pak Sas, your voice is not too loud. Pak Sas? Pak Sas? Are you there? Pak Sas, are you there? Okay. Pak Sas? Pak Sas, are you there? Yeah, Bapak Ibu, but at least Pak Sas has told me about some of the things that he tried to produce for his students, and what we are looking at in our on our screen is about one of what he produced, or one thing that he made for his students. Pak Sas, are you there? Pak Sas? Again, it is about, I think he suffered from a bad connection, bad internet connection. Back to you, Bu Itje. Are you still there? Bu Itje, are you still there?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Okay, ma'am, what do you think of the things that Pak Sas created here? So I think that he tried to create so many different things for his students, at least to motivate the students to read, to motivate the students to to be attracted, to be interested in reading the book. So what do you think, ma'am?
Yes. I think, as I mentioned earlier, that the attitude of the behavior, the attitude of the adult around them, that build the motivation, not necessarily the access to the books, etc. Even though access is limited, if the adults like Pak Sasmoyo show interest, show motivation, enthusiasm, then it's contagious. It's contagious. Then it builds the behavior of the kids to slowly liking the book and engage with text. And I think it's very important for us teachers and parents to find as many strategies as possible to help our students first to like books, to like reading, and then slowly, little by little, engage them with the text in order that it helps them to develop their critical thinking, to develop their logical thinking, because in the books there are always things that they can learn, and if it is followed up by talking about it, then it helps to develop their thinking skills.
Yeah, and
so again, the key is the involvement of the adults.
Yes.
With all hearts.
Yes. And teachers must be creative, I think, so that they can produce something that the students can read if the surroundings cannot provide them books. So in this case, teachers have to be able to provide the books. Teachers have to be able to create the books, because It seems to me from what Pak Sas did just now, he tried to create his own books for his children. And if I still remember one of his slides, in his slides, he told us that there are five fun and engaging activities in incorporating reading. They are by creating question cube or question wheel and alphabet step, where the students have to step on the alphabet based on the letters shown by the teachers, or based on the title of the books that is shown by the teachers, and also about diorama. He asked the students to create a diorama based on the story that the students just finished reading, and then poster drawing and also book reading. Those are 5 engaging activities that his students created, I think.
Yes, and again, teachers' creativity is it's not something that they're born with. It's the efforts of the teachers to learn to read first. There are lots of resources now talking about reading creativity and how we can support the students to be successful reader. And again, creativity, it's not something that was born with us, but it depends on our effort to search for more and more knowledge, and then create. And again, I look at how reading literacy will help teachers to develop their career.
Yeah, thank you.
Successful teacher.
Yes, thank you for the comment.
Come back.
Pak Sas, okay. Glad to have you back, Pak Sas. Bapak Ibu, perhaps you can check the chat.
Sorry. Yes. Finally I can check that. Let us provide access to books. Right. So let me share link to examples of access of books, digital books that I gave. Actually, we developed that with teachers. This is it. Let me copy that. And then share that with the chat. Here it is, one of the examples. Eka?
Yes.
You can find and Zoom participants, you can find the
Bapak Ibu, perhaps you can check our chat.
One web-based application.
Yeah, Bapak Ibu, perhaps you can check the chat, and Pak Sas tried to share something, and perhaps you can click the link, and I do believe that you are going to find something that is interesting. Bapak Ibu, will you please click the link? Pak Sas, are you there?
Yes. So if you click the link, can you see that, Bu Eka?
Yes, I can see it, Pak.
Yes. So you will see a bookshelf like this. It is easy to make. Probably if Bapak Ibu try, you can finish that in less than 5 minutes. Where we provide various kinds of books, interesting books, hopefully, with the considering the aspects that Bu Itje presented just now. We pick books that could interest children. For example, this is what I get it. Something like this. It's a flip book, so you can flip it. It has the same sound, but it's in Bahasa Indonesia, unfortunately. But just to give you an idea that this flip book is just like books, just like physical books. It has the same mechanism. You can flip it just like a book. It sounds like a book. So I hope that will interest children, and it does. I will show you the number later on. So you can try that by yourself, Bapak Ibu. And then the second one, yes.
Okay, go on.
Yes, Ibu.
Yes, go on.
Yeah. Okay. The second one, after we provide access to form, we also do this. Fun and engaging activities. In the previous slide, I show you about the and this is just the same. So let me share the link to you. I will have questions here. Okay. Perhaps Bapak Ibu, you can try that too. Press there. The link is there in the chat room, Bu Eka. You could try that out, Bapak Ibu. You can you see the link in the chat room?
Yes, I can see it.
Click that and find the question wheel there. Yeah, I use wheel design. Can contain up to 100 questions. It is completely modified and it's free, and you can finish that or probably create in 5 minutes. Very simple to make. Yeah. So looks like this. Yeah. Oops. This one, simply click to spin. You can also turn on the sound if you wish. Yes, so this question wheel is mostly used by children to have a discussion about the book that they have just read. Like this. For example. That is the wheel of questions. And the next activities that I design is this is the wheel design, and then let's see this. What's in the back? Let's see. Up. This I also designed the book review that just like the one that I showed in the last in the previous slides. This is just the same. This is a book review, simple book review that I introduced. So I send this file to students, and they simply have to fill in the blanks. Here it is, judul cerita, the name of the students, what class, from which school, and then they can click on any bubbles they would like to work on first. Let's say the easiest one would be penerbit or the publisher. Let's click, and then they have to write the publisher of the book that they read here. The next is probably, which one, Bu Eka, would you like to see?
The one that you shared with me last night.
Probably the cat.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah. And then which one? Rating, for example. 5 stars. Simply click the stars. how many stars, why, you write down the reason here. I give 3 stars because the vocabulary is difficult, for example, and so on and so on, just like that. So I make it more interesting by using various kinds of effects here. This is for the book review, and then there any other in there? Yes. No. Okay. Now, I also did different kind of games. Bapak Ibu, I have this. It's a bit different from the previous one. Yes. Okay, let me put that here, and then Bapak Ibu, you can try it out. That is the link, Bapak Ibu. Perhaps you can try that.
Yes, I can see it, Pak.
That looks like, yes, okay. Basically, it looks like this. Match the picture with its description. So, what is this? I think you can try that too. And then boat, and then plane, and then no taxi. And the others, they don't match. Then click the tick button here, and then it will lead you to the book. This is some kind of pre-reading activities. Now have fun reading the book. So you click the link, and it will lead you to the flip book that I introduced previously. Like this. Rama. You can, so children can choose whether they read the stories by themselves, or if you click that, a video of someone
Asas?
So the game leads you to the book. Okay. And then I will share the second link. Bapak Ibu, I will give you 5 minutes this time to try the next link, and I would like to hear what you say about this. I try to incorporate the a book to the game. But yeah,
I'm turning the book, Pak.
yeah. Bapak Ibu, please try the last link that I sent first, and then go on with the previous one. I sent that not in the correct order. So please try the learning apps link first, the last link, and then try the previous link. I give you 5 minutes, and then I would like to hear your comments or feedbacks or anything related to the design.
So the first thing that Bapak Ibu has to do is to click the learning apps, because then it is going to lead you to the Genially one. So Bapak Ibu, will you please click the learning apps to find out the puzzle, if I'm not mistaken, the crossword puzzle. No. the word search.
It's word search.
Yep.
Then you go to the generally link, the previous one. I would love to hear Bu Itje's comments on this design, Bu Itje.
Itje, Pak Sas.
What do you
That's a
think,
simple
ma'am?
thing.
Yeah, perhaps Bu Itje can give us any comment about something presented by Pa Sas.
My comment is that we adult, whether teacher or parents, the most important thing is put efforts. Again, as we can witness what Pak Sasmoyo has presented, they are all available. Open resources, whether it's free or paid,
Yes.
but it's there. The important thing is the courage of the adults to find out, and then to find which one, because resources is massive and so varied. Then it is our skill, our ability, our ability in choosing the right activities, the right apps, because there are so many apps now. We cannot deny that similar apps are there. However, choosing the right apps, choosing the right strategies to use is the most important. That's what we as adults should learn too. Because the world changes and technology are presented in different ways now, and we adults who do not grow up or go on in this era should learn again on how at how those things work, and then we help the kids on learning how to learn. So this is very important, learning how to learn, because learning how to learn will help the students to find out, to develop their efficacy, to develop ownership, because when they know how to learn, then they will enjoy by themselves, and remember that children learn from experience rather than from instruction. That's my comment.
Yes, thank you, Bu Itje. Pak Sas, there is one question from YouTube, and perhaps that is also my questions or the other audience's question. How to create that, Pak Sas? How to create the things that you just showed us? How to create the virtual library? Pak Sas, are you there?
Okay. The virtual library. Yes. Thank you, Bu Itje. Yes.
Okay.
In my case, it is free apps that I chose, not the paid one.
Yeah, you see, even the free apps, there are so many, lots of them. And
Right.
if, again, you agree with me, yeah? It's the ability for the adults to choose the right one.
Completely agree with that. Now, let me show you what I do with some teachers in Pekanbaru and some other districts. I will show you this. This is the virtual library that we Kudus Sukajadi, Pekanbaru Riau. Can you see that, Bu Eka?
Yes, I can see it.
So, how to make it? How to create that? Simply make the PowerPoint presentation, any book you like, any flow you like. Hopefully, Children will like that too, and then transfer that or export that into PDF, and then use this pub HTML5 apps to convert that into flipbook like this. And that's it. It's book. And they even create the bookshelf for you. And then regarding the question, what about those areas which has less access to technology? Don't worry, this one is printable. You can print that too, if necessary. You can print all the pages or certain page that you want. I think that the question is that do they work? You know, the design that I propose, do they work? I happen to conduct a survey on that, especially with the two links that I shared to you too. I would like to hear your comments too later on. But this is what I do. I distribute the link to junior high and primary school students and junior high school students, and this is what they think about that. I conducted it just recently, on 17th April 2021, and in just 2 days I received 855 responses, mostly from junior high schools, because the books that I sent is mostly in English. I believe the result will be different if the book is in Bahasa. So 145 responses from primary school students and 709 responses from junior high school students. Of different grades, and this is the results. I compile the positive responses into likes. Yeah, 70% of the responses said yes, they like that. I'm happy with that. It's good. It's nice. It's brilliant, and so on. 11% said so. But another 11% abstain. Perhaps they don't understand because it is in English, and I send that to any places that I can send it to. And then only 8% dislikes it. And 70% of 800 students is a lot of students, 560 students. So I think preliminary results is showing that we have hope that children will read more if we incorporate, or if we can engage with them, like who Itje said. I give examples that engage that. How do we engage that? With games, with puzzle, with crafts, with arts. This is some of the things that they said, some of their comments. Ya, model pembelajaran literasi yang berbeda dari biasanya dilakukan sekolah. It is different from what they usually have in schools. And then this is their word. They said it's legit, it's good, it's nice. So it's their language. Kalau buat belajar lebih seru, it's fun, it's excited karena asik sama gak ngebosin. It's not boring. Rasanya lebih relax, gak tahu kenapa. It makes them relax too. And then senang karena pada pertama kan ada puzzle, itu seru. So they enjoy the pre-reading activities karena agak menantang walau kadang sulit buat mecahinya. Yes, and at the same time it is challenging. Pada saat baca saya senang karena saya baru lihat ada buku di HP yang bisa dibuka lembarnya. This access to flip books is also making them surprised, and surprise is good. So this is it. This is my final words. In conclusion, give children books and many will say forget it. Give them gadgets and they will forget everything. So why not incorporating reading into their gadgets?
Yeah, that's a good quotation.
I guess this is what I can say. What I can share, Bu Eka.
Yeah. Pak, there is one question from Bu Santi in our Zoom, talking about what kind of activities
Yes.
we can provide for the students who are living in a very remote area.
Mm-hmm. Which one is that?
What kind of activities that you can share for the children with low resources of technology, Pak Sas?
Yeah. Okay, Ibu. I use the activities that I share, the five fun engaging activities that I do before pandemic. The first one, the one that has access to physical books, wheel of questions, question dice, question cube, and alphabet step on. I use that in indigenous community in Pulau Padang, where they have very limited access to books. So I think you can also try them out. And in my experience, they work. They work very well.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other question, Bu Eka?
I don't have any other questions in our Zoom, Pak.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all for the presentation and also the Q&A session. Because we did not separate the Q&A session, but we integrate the Q&A session into the session of presentation for both of the presenters here. So, Bapak Ibu, that's all for the presentation and also for the Q&A session. I think I'm going to give back the floor to Pak Agung. Pak Agung, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Ibu Eka. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a very fruitful and inspiring discussion with Ibu Itje and Bapak Sasmoyo. I believe that this will be another idea or knowledge to motivate our students, our children to read. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we almost come to the end of this virtual talk. And before we end this session, we would like to inform you to fill in the attendance list provided in the chatting box. So once again, we would like to remind you to fill in the attendance list provided in the chatting box. And the next announcement is that the upcoming virtual talk will be hosted by Universitas Sanata Dharma on 22nd of May 2021. Once again, to be informed to everyone here that the upcoming virtual talk will be hosted by Universitas Sanata Dharma on the 22nd of May 2021 at 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of this virtual talk. And before ending the session, we would like to have a photo session. Okay, after filling in the attendance list, we would like all of you to activate your camera because we are going to take your photo. Thank you. Okay, now we are going to have photo session first.
Okay, dear
participants, I would like to help Bapak Agung. I would like to invite you to turn on all of your video cam. We'd like to invite you to turn on the video, and we are going to take pictures several times due to the limitation of the number of the screen that I have on my laptop. Okay, I need to take a picture 8 times, so would you please be patient and keep smiling for more or less 10 seconds. Okay, starting from the first one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Now I'm moving to the second page. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I move to the third page. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now on the fourth page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, another page. 1, 2, 3. 2 more pages. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And here we go, the last page. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Maman.
We are done, Pak Agung.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this very nice talk, virtual talk number 20. And we will see you again in the upcoming virtual talk number 21. It will be hosted by Universitas Sanata Dharma on the 22nd of May 2021. Okay, thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you, Bu Itje. Thank you, Pak Sas.
Bye everyone.
Thank
Nice
you, everyone.
Thank you, Bu
Thank you,
Bu
Brad.
Itje, Pak
Thank you for
Sas.
your coming.
Be
Pak Sas,
well.
thank you.
Sasmoyo.
IERA, UKSW. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yang diperoleh ada 4 komponen tadi ya, dari penelitian sampai ke inovasi. Nah, kalau dihitung kira-kira itu setiap komponen perlu maksimal.
Halo Bu Anita.
Halo Bu Eka.
Masing-masing berapa
Pak Sas, halo Pak.
Pak Sas, are you still there?
siswa pada saat portofolio tadi?
Mengacu tahun lalu tahun lalu saja.
Halo Bu Anis.
Mas Ivan bisa stop recordingnya atau Mas Amru? You can stop the recording. Ibu Eka, Bu Anita, Pak Agung, saya izin dulu edit foto. Saya masukkan
Terima kasih
drive.
Bapak. Terima
Dan
kasih.
sertifikat peserta. Ya, terima kasih semuanya.
Terima kasih Bapak.
Sehat selalu.
Thank you everyone.
Pak sudah nggak direkam kan Pak ya?
Sudah tidak.
Sudah
Aman.
informal ya Pak ya?
Ya, informal. Jadi kalau mau bergosip boleh Ibu sekalian.
Eka, thank you ya.